Morning everybody. I'm making this really simple video about how I store and organise, I suppose, my cardstock. Now Lawnfawn has brought out a few new colours. I will say Lawnfawn, or any American brand, cardstock is slightly different to UK. We use A4. So here, actually use these ones. So these are the new ones. It's certainly shorter, and if we flip it over, it's actually, American one is a bit wider. So the units I have to put my cardstock in is specifically designed for A4 cardstock. I'm not so worried about the length, but I certainly will need to trim off this slim strip. Now, keep hold of them. I will show you. I have, let me just grab it quickly. Here is all the surplus from the other colours that I've cut up. Now keep these, because these are great for doing lots of different techniques. There's lots of people that keep scraps like this for weaving, lots of different cards and stuff like that. So keep hold of them. So basically, yes, I will need to trim off that much on all of the cardstock because it will not fit in. It's like I said, it's not the length, it's just the height of it when it's stood up, because I actually have my card stood up that way. So these are the different cardstocks that are new, and this is what I have to create. Now, I currently have a piece of acetate. I call it a binding sheet. So then when you make files and you bind them, this is like a top layer. It protects, like, obviously your work underneath. I have lots of them at work, so this is it's a rigid piece of plastic. To be fair, this is not as rigid as I would have liked. I would have liked something a little bit more sturdy, but actually it does fit well. And what is important is that I'm not taking up too much room. So when all my card is together, you know, this is the bit that's tucked away, and this is the bit that you will see, and it works perfectly fine. So if I had, for example, another cardstock, you can actually still see what's behind it and stuff like that. So this is what we're going to be making today. This little tab on this little piece of acetate. I'm not going to chop up all the card now. That will be a job that I will do another time. But basically, this is what we're going to create. I'll use a darker piece because it's a little bit easier to see this white one. Now, how I created this was using a Stampin' Up punch. It is a really, really old Stampin' Up punch. This is the old style. We now have Stampin' Up goes. We have newer styles. This is a newer one. This design is very sought after. I know once upon a time I saw them being sold on eBay for like £100. It would be great if Stampin' Up produced this stamp again, because obviously, you know, it's well sought after and people really want to use it. So and I'm sure the sales will rocket. If not, maybe another company should consider that. So basically, I purchased this from eBay a very long time ago. However you cut it, just make sure that you've got enough space. Cuts out the shape. You can use your scoring tool to make sure you do centre it. It's, you know, I'm just using my fingers for quickness. And basically, this is the tab. This is how I made that. So that bit literally sits there and that's there. So a lot of people don't have this punch. which is unfortunate. But there is other punches and other shapes that you can use to make a very similar product that you can use for sorting. So obviously this is, you know, what I use because I have it. If you don't, then you can use lots of other ones. So we could use a circle. I don't know. I've just literally grabbed 3 different punches, and we, you know, this. So they all obviously do different things. This one, circle, any shape that you want. So if I get a piece of acetate, let's use what we just had. You know, you can stick it out. Now, it's not going to sit flush. Of course not. You know, this is designed to sit, you know, there. But you could always, you know, once it's stuck on, you could use some scissors just to trim it off. I mean, like I said, you know, it's not perfect, but it's a tab. You may not want it to protrude like that, and actually in that case you might want to just sit it flush like that. You could also, once you've put it on like that, is just trim off a section. You're still going to be left with it like that. So you could do that circle. This is this other shape. I just folded it in half. Again, you could stick it on like that, and then you've got, you know, this, yeah, this bit here, you could trim that off. This one I folded in half. Smaller shapes like this, I will show you something you can do. Obviously, you know, you'd have to still stick it like that. Now you can use a stapler to hold that on, or glue, which I did. So using this punch, I cut out 2, and what I did is I'll show you. Cut out 2, 1, 2. Use some glue to cover one side. I'd say something quite strong because you know, it might come loose. I've used the centre of that. You can do it that way. I've just done it that way because I'm sort of trying to use the middle. That's where I'm going to lay it on. Roughly. It doesn't have to be exact, but obviously if you've got a bit more time, then do it a bit best you can. So, and then just lay this one on top. So you have a sandwich. There, you know. So when you have your card stacked up, this is what will be protruding from it, and that would work perfectly fine. So I think if you just look at smaller shapes, instead of cutting them in half, just stick 2 alongside each other. And then obviously with the white one, as you can see, I made these little labels, which I used a label machine. So we need to make this one. This is what's this one called? Paper bag. So I'm just using my label maker. I've actually just bought a new one, which is ta-da. This one's a lot bigger. You just have to fiddle around with it. I've literally just purchased this. I've just purchased some more tape as well, and just having a, you know, just exploring the machine and seeing what works and what doesn't work. This one is perfectly adequate though, the Dynamo. I've bought unbranded ones as opposed to buying the company, because it can work out a little bit expensive, but that depends on your budget and how much you go through. I think once you originally, or maybe start organise your room, you'll probably go through quite a few, which I did. But as now I'm just buying things occasionally, it doesn't, obviously you don't use so much. So so basically this is the one I'm using at the moment. We need to make a small tab which obviously go on our colour, on our sheet. So what I need to do first though is this is the one, this is called the paper bag. I will need to cut one out, because obviously that's what we need. I will just need to fold it in half, and I will need to get a clear piece of acetate or binding sheet, or whatever you want to call it. So let me just quickly do that first. So what I'm doing is I'm only covering the lower part at the moment. You can obviously cover all of it, but I just did that. Then I will use the top of the piece of acetate to line up with that corner, and then just try and straighten it up to make sure. And then obviously, upside down, make sure you tape up that other half. Again, you can do all of it, it doesn't make no difference. Put that down. And then with the label maker, I need to obviously make you know, the label for it, the name, so I know what it is, because I'm not that familiar with all the different shades and stuff. So for me, it's important that I know. So paper, I actually am doing it on a because of the width here. I'll have 2 lines, and obviously put the word bag there. Let's print. So here is my label. What I have been doing, because I don't want all that like that, and this is black writing on a clear back, so you can still see the card through it, you know. So what I've been doing is just cutting off that surplus. I'm sure there's a way that you can do it so you don't actually waste that much, but I haven't actually figured that out as yet. So basically just remove that. Watch your fingers, because it will leave a bit of a print, and then just stick it on there, and that's ready to go. So for example, if I have all my, this is all my shimmer white, and then obviously on that side, obviously there was a bulk here, you know, I'm going to have that stood out. Now you can stagger it, you can have it so that you've got in one unit, you've got it like that, and so on and so forth, if you want to do that. But I think with the amount of card I have, it does, you can still see it from an angle and stuff like that. So that's how you can make that. If you're using this one, you know, we'll just print off another one just so you can see what it looks like. Obviously that's not paper bag, obviously, and I can't remember the colour of that one, because again I'm still sort of understanding all the different colours, but say it was whatever it was, you could stick your tab on, and oh, that's not straight, but anyway, I think you can get like a second of where you can maybe lift it. I would probably say with that I'd go larger, so because obviously the one I'm using is slightly smaller. So that's how you make them. I will show, or if you go to my Facebook page, Sally Floss Creative Corner, or you look at other videos on the YouTube, there is pictures of my card stock area, where all these tabs, or not these ones because this is an alternative, but where these ones are, you can see how they all sit quite comfortably together and how it works. I hope that's been helpful. Like I said, like, you know, you don't have to, you know, do that. You could probably cut this one in half. Whatever you have in your stash will definitely work, you know, and then you could stick that like that, you know, so you have the scallop, which does look prettier, obviously. Again, with the circle, again, you don't have to use a whole circle. if you don't want waste. Stick one on the front, one on the back, and then you've got your tab. So I just hope that was a little bit helpful for you, and obviously please take a look at my photos of my card area. It's great. Have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.